welcome to Kroger OTR Eatery. Gary Miller with you for week 2 of Bengals Nation on Local 12, sponsored by Rally House. For week 2, we're going to get it over to our favorite two, Mike Hilton and Von Bell, and it's our first turnover of the show to Chris.
Thanks, Gary. Joined this week, like every week, with Mike Hilton and Von Bell. Guys, not the way you wanted the season start in week 1, but boy, watching that from afar, what a weird, fun, crazy game. Did it feel as crazy for you guys playing it as it did for us? Because I had no idea what was going to happen next, honestly.
It really did. You could just tell throughout the whole game. It was a lot of turn of events, from blocked field goals to missed field goals to it was just a lot. But, it was a tough opponent. We let one slip away, but good thing about it, that was only week 1, and we got the rest of the season to really correct things and go about our business.
For sure. That's why I just take 60 minutes and more. Great team, football, and everybody, because it's going to be ebbs and flows of the game. So you just got to keep on fighting, keep on battling, and just trying to put the team in the best position to win.
Defensively, you guys, being on the field as much as you were because of turnovers and everything else, still held them to under 300 yards, gave the team a chance to win. What was working out there that seemed like Pittsburgh just couldn't really get anything going offensively?
It was just us communicating well, being in the right spot to make plays, and trusting each other, knowing that guy's going to be there and be in that spot to make the play. And we got to give a shout-out to Coach Lou. He made the right calls, and we followed his lead.
Now, both of you don't get after the quarterback much, but you both had a quarterback hit in that game. That's something maybe you get in Lou's head, like, hey, Coach, send me on a blitz. I want to go hit the QB once.
Oh, yeah, he definitely knows me and Von like to blitz a good bit. He tries to time it up right where we both can make a play. And like you said, we both had a quarterback hit, so hopefully we can build on top of that and turn them into sacks.
He knows the right time when to call it, always. It never fails. I'm like, how do you know this? Like, this guy's a mad scientist, I swear. But hats off to him and the coaching staff, just really putting us in position to just go out there and just do our thing.
Von, this week you're going up against a couple guys you know pretty well from your days at Ohio State. You got Zeke, you got Malik Hooker back there. What's it like, I guess, for both of you when you see someone that you're so close to in college and for so many years and you're going up against them?
Obviously, it's always good, but it's always competition. And we're knowing at the end we're trying to get a win, and we can shake hands and be friends after the game.
It's always that competition. Always watching guys and seeing how they're doing across the league. But when you go against them on Sunday or Monday night or Thursday night, you're always peeping out like, man, I'm coming to get you this play. Or, it's always a healthy competition like Mike said. And really just want to see guys just thrive and be successful in the league. But it's always a brotherhood at the end of the day.
Well, we heard from these guys. Let's send it over to Gary Miller, who has This Week with Zach Taylor.
Zach, so many twists and turns in that Steelers game. How long, does it take longer to get over a game like that than any other loss?
That's life in the league. You just got to be able to make the adjustments going forward on anything that we feel like we can do a better job of, myself included. And we'll make those corrections to be a better team, in the future. It's a tough one to start 0-1 against a division rival, but that's the hand we were dealt, and we just got to regroup and go after Dallas next week.
It's hard not to have all those plays keep coming back in your head, especially the way your mind works. Do you have a method of just getting away, just for whether it's an hour or two, to decompress?
You relive it quite a bit. You make sure you watch it a couple times to have a full grasp of what happened. Again, so you can make the corrections and not run into the same issues going in the future. But you just quickly turn the page to Dallas. There's a lot of tape to watch, and you have a short week to do it. So that's the easiest way to turn the page, just move on to the next opponent.
I did hear you talk about watching Star Wars with your son. I mean, how does that help you just get your mind off it for a while?
Yeah, it's football 24/7 for us. And typically I do go home on Sundays and watch the games. And sometimes after a loss, it's not the thing you want to do. So just looking for any sort of distraction. My son's into Star Wars right now, so I sat down and watched the show with him and had a good time doing it.
And the famous line is?
I am your father. Not Luke, I am your father.
How does he react to that?
Well, his name is Luke, so
right.
That's how I've always phrased it. I never knew I was wrong until last night.
It's unusual that a team that has as much success as you guys had last year to either get to or win the Super Bowl you're an example. You got stolen by the Bengals after the Rams went to the Super Bowl. You were able to keep the core of your staff and pretty much all your important players in under contract or on your staff. How huge an advantage has that been?
It's a big advantage, just from a chemistry standpoint, communication standpoint. I feel like people want to be here. That's a big part. They're not looking for reasons to leave or ways to leave. That's players and coaches. So that's something we want to continue to build off of, have a great culture that people want to be a part of. And whether people leave or not, we feel like they got a good core in place that can sustain any loss we have.
Lots more to get to. Bengal great David Fulcher is ready with this week's Faux Rock Locks, trying to keep Chris from gloating too much.
Faux Rocks Locks, sponsored by Hawksworth.
All right, a segment we love to call Faux Rock Locks. David and I got locked out last week. You thought Tom Brady's marriage was in more trouble than it appears to be.
Oh, yeah.
At least when they faced the Cowboys. I had wishful thinking, hoping the Ravens would lose. Pick the Jets. Chris went with the Baker Bowl.
Yeah, you guys both were wrong. Right, winner, 1-0. I'm not going to get another one right all week, so I'm going to brag about it. I'm going to bask in the glory of winning.
As long as you pick against Baker Mayfield, I think you'll have success. All right, time for atonement.
So here, last week I thought Tom Brady was falling by the wayside, but I'm going to pick the Dolphins to beat the Ravens.
We got to keep picking against the Ravens.
Yeah, the thing about it is that's our division team. I'm wanting our division to lose because we lost last week.
What do you got?
All right, mine is a good one on Monday night. It's the Vikings at the Eagles. Right now, the Eagles are favored. It's a very small margin. The Eagles, they got a lot of firepower. They're one of the trendy picks in the league. The Eagles also gave up 35 points to the Lions, and I know everyone thinks the Lions are great because they were on Hard Knocks and Dan Campbell's fun. I'm not convinced. I think they're better. I'm going to take the Vikings. They had a convincing win, and I like them.
Perfect segue, and I didn't even script him. I've got the Lions and Dan Campbell and company, who did come oh so close. They're actually favored.
Wow.
First time that's happened in more than 2 years, but here come the Commanders. I'm taking the Commanders and those 1.5 points. We'll see how it turns out next week.
Oh, yeah.
2-0. That's all I got to say. 2-0.
Getting Defensive, sponsored by Blake Maislin.
We got a special guest today, a former Dallas Cowboy, now Cincinnati Bengal, and a big part of the turnaround. Y'all give a hand for Cheeto Awuzie. Cheeto.
What's good, brothers?
Put a little pep in the step. What's good with it, brother?
How y'all doing? Solid. Appreciate y'all having me.
Appreciate you coming, man. Appreciate you coming.
Straight out of practice.
Go ahead.
Welcome to Getting Defensive, my guy. Week 2. Man, Cheeto Awuzie. I'm glad you're here, man.
I appreciate it. You guys welcomed me with open arms, and the city of Cincinnati welcomed me with open arms. So it's definitely a home for me.
Man, I just want to know who is Cheeto? We see you playing chess. We see you playing ping pong. Just tell us who you are, man. Who is Cheeto?
Things.
Who is Cheeto?
Who is Cheeto?
Y'all want me to talk in third person or?
You can do third person. That works.
Cheeto is first of all, a God-fearing man. Faith is important to me. After that, Cheeto, me. I am raised by parents who are Nigerian. I'm Nigerian too, so take a lot of pride in my African identity. And they raised me with hard work and to always, strive to be the best. So, see, I'm very competitive in whatever I do. I always think I have a chance to win. Sometimes that gets me in trouble because I shouldn't be playing things that I'm not good at, but, I love competing, I love winning. So, that's who Cheeto is.
All right, I got a question for you. And the crowd want to know, how did your journey start at Colorado, University of Colorado? Then you get drafted 2017 to the Cowboys, starting inside at nickel, then working your way outside. So how was that transition for you?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that in college I played nickel mainly, and I was always around the ball, blitzing, dropping into coverage, playing man and stuff. And then when I got to the NFL, they were like, "You're a corner." So I had to kind of go to that island and start to man up on some receivers. And I've always been fascinated with DB, just the position in general. Playing next to two great DBs in yourselves, I admire the way y'all play. I admire the position, and anytime I'm just on the field, I'm just in great awe of the game of football. So I love to be out there making plays, no matter where I'm at.
So this is a big week for you. Being in your shoes last year, playing against your old team for the first time, man. How you feel going into Sunday?
Yeah, it's a weird feeling for sure, but I'm confident in our ability as a team. First and foremost, they say winning against people that is the best type of win. You don't want you beat your big brother. It feels better than beating the random Joe on the street. So in this case, our little brother. It's gonna be a lot of fun out there. Definitely gonna see people we know and I know. But when I put on that helmet, it's all business and it's all anything I could do to get the win.
All right. I got another question for the crowd. They want to know what is money on the floor when you
Money on the floor.
Do they know what money on the floor is?
Mr.
When
Money.
they see you do this, man, you grabbing out the floor on third down.
Yeah. So money on the floor is a statement. I would say I grew up always hearing from my big homies, my big cousins, friends. They say it a lot in music where I'm from, and it's just talking about opportunity essentially. Money's an object, but the key to it is really opportunity on the floor. And whenever I say that, it's like there's an opportunity to be had. And when preparation meets opportunity, beautiful things happen. So it's just always a reminder that you got to be on your toes to get that opportunity to see it come through.
I got one more, man. Between you, Joe Burrow, Evan McPherson, and I'll say B.J. Hill, who the best ping pong player?
See me, I'm gonna give respect where it's due. Me. No.
Yeah, okay. I got one more question.
What's up?
What was your first impression when you met Eli Apple?
Eli,
That's my guy. Don't worry about it.
as everybody would say, Eli is Eli. Yep. And my first impression, obviously I've seen him around the league, knew he was a great player. And when he first came here, he didn't say too much. But when he started to get settled in, Eli's personality came out, and I would really say that he's one of those players that a lot of people get energy from. And when Eli has energy, we all have energy. So when he doesn't have energy, it's kind of like, oh, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? Something wrong? So I think Eli is definitely one of those guys that pushes the culture in the locker room, pushes the culture on the field, really aggressive. And, it's one of my favorite players I've played across from at the cornerback position for sure.
Respect.
Cool, Chief, man. We appreciate you coming on getting defensive, man. We know it's a big game for you and us. We got to get that first dub, man. So we appreciate you coming out, man.
Appreciate you, brother.
Love.
Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all. Y'all too.
Earning Your Stripes, sponsored by Rally House.
Zach, I know I've talked to you about this before as far as the Cowboys, but growing up in Norman, but you said it's just totally a college town. But if there was an NFL team, or at least your friends and a lot of the people in the Oklahoma area, that's the team, right, growing up?
It would be the team, the Dallas Cowboys. I remember watching them in their heyday. That hasn't even crossed my mind until you just brought it up. That's had no bearing. Once you get in the league, those kind of all go out the window. I would never have even thought about that. But again, Oklahoma's as close as you can get to a pro team as Dallas, and man, so there's some people there that pull for them.
So you never had any Cowboys stuff? No helmets, no.
No, what I think I might have had a Dallas Cowboys starter jacket in about the second or third grade that my great grandmother bought me. I remember the story. She was about 80 years old, and she bought it for me. And the way it was explained to me was she wants to get you a big present because she just never knows. And she lived to be 104. So she gave me a big present, 24 years before she passed, and it was a great present.
A lot of injuries in your game against the Steelers, including some critical ones. Cowboys had Dak Prescott go out for indefinitely with a thumb injury. How does that change the Cowboys?
The guy that they got behind him has been there for 5 years. He, Dak, and Kellen Moore used to be in the quarterback room together back in 2017, 2018. So there's a lot of trust there in history, obviously. Jason Garrett took him to New York when he went to New York, and then he came back. So obviously you can just see the track record he's had. There's a lot of confidence and faith in this guy, and so they obviously believe that he can get the job done, and we got to be ready for it. Every quarterback that's playing this league has ability. There's a reason they're there, and so we got to do our best to identify what his strengths and weaknesses are and attack him.
Obviously, La'el Collins was there for a long time. Do you pick his brain at all going into this week?
Yeah, him and Cheeto. Those are two guys that play there that anytime you got a player, you want to pick their brain and see if there's any information that's helpful. Obviously, the amount of turnover that can occur over an offseason or a year in Cheeto's case is usually pretty drastic. So we'll do our best to gain the information that's pertinent to us.
How much did playing against T.J. Watt prepare you for Micah Parsons?
You know, everybody's got a little bit different style, you know, and so TJ Watt is a premier player. We played against him a lot. We have yet to play against Micah. So there's a lot to learn the first time you play against the guy. We got to do our best to study and find ways to help ourselves there. But he's a really, really good pass rusher.
Zach's coming back. Up next on Bengals Nation, the head coach breaks it all down from his telestrator.
Coach Taylor's Breakdown, sponsored by EverDry.
First one here on offense. You can see here we're trying to maximize our protection here on both edges. They got a 4-man rush. You can see there it's a really good pocket inside, giving Joe a chance. We're trying to run a double move here, kind of a short shake by the outside receivers. And then we got a middle read here by TB. But you can see Joe makes a good decision. They're playing Tampa 2. They're getting to a different Tampa 2 invert look with the safety playing the flat up top. And so he checks it down to Hayden. Hayden does a great job. He's 4 yards short of the stick because he helped out in protection. But he does a great job running through that tackle and getting us a first down. So that's a big key to the game, is extending these first, second down plays and getting us more opportunities on normal downs. The next one we got here, again, is a play action protection we got. So we have to abort the play action because we're getting safety pressure down here at the bottom. We're throwing a strike route to T. Higgins, so he's going to run a strike. We're going to run a fan route over the top, and we're going to run a post outside by Jamar. So T does a really good job coming off the ball, making it look like he could run out, in, or straight vertical past the corner. Joe does a good job with the timing and delivery, and we get an explosive run there by T. Next one we got here is a 4th down run. As you can see, Drew Sample does a really good job. LC takes him where he wants to go outside. Drew does a great job pinning Miles Jack in here. And you can see there's a huge hole there for Joe Mixon to go in there and get some extra yards here against Mika. So a really good run that put us inside the 5-yard line on a critical 4th and 1 play. That was good to see. Then we have a 3rd and 2 on the goal line here. So you can see here TB is going to run a quick stick route inside, and Jamar is going to release outside and run an in breaker. He's really got the choice to break in or out in this case. He's got outside leverage, so he chose the in breaker. TB does a good job trying to win with speed out vertical. This is the same play we hit Trent Taylor on against the Kansas City Chiefs for a 2-point conversion in the playoffs. 3rd and 3 here in overtime. I thought our defense played really, really well in this game. You can see tight coverage down here, tight coverage by Vaughn, tight coverage up top, tight coverage here by Mike Hilton. We got 2 droppers getting in here in the windows, expecting routes like this. Guys trying to throw quick completions underneath, and then Mike Hilton doing a really good job making this a near impossible throw for the quarterback. I thought it was a really good job there by our defense.
We haven't heard the last from the head coach, Zach Taylor. One more time, we'll hear from him today on Sunday's Showdown.
This is my glory.
Chris's Star Matchup, sponsored by Gold Star.
For my matchup this week, it's 2 of the brightest stars in the league. Jamar Chase against Trayvon Diggs. The Bengals had plenty of problems on offense in week 1 against the Steelers. Jamar Chase was not one of them. 10 catches for over 100 yards and a touchdown. And Trayvon Diggs has proven to be one of the best defenders in the defensive backfield in the whole league. He led the league with 11 interceptions last year, returned 2 of them for touchdowns. These 2 guys have actually met on the field once before. Back in college, when Diggs was at Alabama and Chase played his 1 year at LSU, they met in Tuscaloosa. Chase had over 100 yards receiving. Diggs had 10 tackles in a defensive backfield that featured multiple NFL stars. These 2 guys will go at it on Sunday, and Joe Burrow, who had a few turnover problems against the Steelers, knows with a guy like Diggs defending, you got to be extra careful where you place that football.
Yeah, he makes a lot of plays. Obviously, with however many interceptions he had last year, it felt like a million. You know, he's not afraid to take chances. He's going to jump routes, and he's going to. You got to be aware of who you're throwing a 50-50 ball to when he's covering him, because he's going to go make a play. I mean, I think he's a former receiver at some point in his career, so you got to be aware of that.
Keys to the Game, sponsored by Kia.
Zach, we end every Bengals Nation with what must you do. What's the key to going to get to 1-1 and win this first road game of the year?
Yeah, on the road you need to find a way to be +2 in the turnover battle in any phase. And then 3rd downs are going to be critical in this game. You know, our offense against their defense and vice versa. Getting stops, getting our guys off the field on defense, and then finding ways to continue to make plays on offense to give ourselves more opportunities on normal downs. So those will be 2 of the key areas.
Put it in your calendars. We're with you every Saturday night throughout the season with the latest edition of Bengals Nation at 11:35. The main event, Sunday in the late national window, 4:25 on Local 12.
Now, Cheeto, we got to bring you in. You know, we talked a little bit during your guys' segment about coming from Nigeria. Is there any place in Cincinnati to get authentic Nigerian food, and how have you had to adjust your diet?
Cheeto's house. I mean, I don't know.
Skyline does not serve
Nah,
Nigerian food.
yeah, I don't know if all y'all are invited, but you know, we can make a little side deal. I could get y'all some Nigerian food, but there's been some people that actually have told me about some spots around that I have to try. Obviously, with the season, gonna be easy on the stomach. You got to trust the chef, but I'll definitely be looking for that type of food around.
We talk so much in the game of football about quarterbacks and wide receivers being on the same page. You guys spent a lot of time together, defensive backfield. Do you kind of have a sixth sense about what the other one's going to do, and how far off the field does that translate? Like, do you know what you're going to say before you say it?
Yeah, man. You know, we spend so much time together in the meeting rooms, on the field, and outside the facility. So it's just knowing these guys, knowing how they see the game, how they see route concepts, and trusting them, knowing Von's going to be in the post and knowing Cheeto's going to be outside of me. You know, it all goes hand in hand.
That's very true. Just having time together, owning in the building, out of the building, at each other's houses, just always just being around each other, picking at each other's mind, and always talking ball. Like on Tuesdays when we have our own meeting, and we're just seeing how we just ask open questions. How you see this? How you see this type of motion, or how you see this type of release, or whatnot, or what we could do with our tools. So just always talking ball with each other, and always just getting the feel. So that's a big thing.
I'm going to bring it back to food. Did you guys I'm sure saw what Leo Collins did for the O-line. Did you wonder why you guys didn't get invited to the buffet?
I must missed it. What happened?
He gave them a nice Cajun.
Yeah, see, you saw it.
Nice Cajun for the whole O-lineman.
Yeah,
they was eating good.
DB's on the mud.
Oh.
See, he's a former Cowboy Cheeto, though, and he took care. Are you going to take care of the DBs?
Oh, you just putting that on me? Hey, I'm a newcomer to this guy, so he should be doing that for us.
We got Ricky.
Captain, my captain.
Cap.
I got you. I got you.
What do we think of Cheeto's kicks?
Cheeto, he stayed with the Crocs.
He stayed with those.
He stayed with the Crocs.
That's just Cheeto.
I got a pair of Crocs, so I understand. They comfy, they easy to slip on, so I understand.
I need a pair.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So
get the DBs. The DBs? Yeah. Get the DB room those?
Yeah.
Okay, folks, you heard it. We all need to be wearing those next week. When you show up here for Bengals Nation, we thank Cheeto for being our special guest, and always Mike Hilton, Von Bell every week on Bengals Nation, Chris Renkel and David Fulcher as well. And we'll see you next Wednesday on Bengals Nation here and on Saturday night on TV.